Okay, so welcome everyone to Harmonic Holistic Constellation, which is basically inspired by Constellation, family constellation, but it's become its own thing now. In this three-part experimental workshop, I want to address the desire to judge. And the reason why I want to address that, the creation of that desire, is that in this work that we're doing, which is about trying to address suppressed emotion that's causing our illnesses and other issues in our lives, we have to address the addictions covering over the emotions, emotional addictions. And a lot of our suffering as adults and in the world is a result of addictions anyway. But when we start addressing addictions, we get very confronted. And then our facade kicks in and we start judging ourselves. We even make ourselves sick from the judgment. And if you're in judgment, you can't process the emotion, whether it's law of compensation or repentance, or like you just can't. You're in judgment. You've lost contact with the emotion, and you're causing more harm to yourself and others in that place. So I find that and it's very slippery. It's like I realized that empathy is the antidote to judgment. Empathy is a space in which emotions can flow. But judgment by itself, I feel, need to be addressed. At the very least, we need to see what we think it's serving for us, because we have an attachment to judgment. One way in which my addiction for power show up is in judging. It creates a false sense of power, which is what I observed growing up in my family, that's what people around me did to feel power, was the way they judge others. So we use judgment as a way of generating a different emotion, to feel superior, to get away from something else. So we get kind of attached to judgment. We think that it's a sign of perfectionism, or a sign of oh, I'm so hard on myself, and like, look, I'm on top of it, or there are all these false assumptions we have about judgment. So in this constellation work today, I'm inviting us to translate for each other our desire to judge and how it got created. Because maybe if you can see how that got created, you may change your mind about holding on to the desire to judge. Because to judge is a desire, it's an emotion, it's a choice created very, very young. And that desire is always acting. So you actually have to work with the desire. And if you know what the desire is about, maybe you'll be more willing to understand what emotion you're avoiding, if that's what's going on for you. So that's the big picture. So for today, in the three part for today is about judgment. I don't know what the other two will be. We'll find out. There'll be empathy somewhere in there. So anyway, so for today, there's enough people here so that not everyone is doing the same thing over and over. We can take turns. But I'm inviting you to offer to be constellated, so that we can talk to your desire to judge, represent it, and then ask it questions like how it got created. Figure out what it's about, so that you as the observer can see what's going on about your desire to judge. You can step outside and see it. So who wants to be first? Who wants to, their desire to judge, be constellated? Jill, and then Debbie. Okay, so we'll start with Jill. So now I'm asking if somebody can offer to represent Jill's desire to judge. Virginia, and then Michaela, can be something. Okay, if something else may show up for you, Michaela. Thank you. So Virginia, just take a moment to set the intention to accurately represent Jill's desire to judge. It's kind of a type of a mediumship exercise. All right, welcome, Jill's representative. Okay, how are you doing right now?
Oh, my throat is so tight. I'm not, I feel like it's just I'm being choked.
Okay, okay. And do you know, can you say more about your desire to judge yourself? It's the desire to judge yourself. Be clear, to be more clear.
I just feel like I have to do it. Like I have to
Okay,
do it.
okay. It's not a choice.
No, I feel like I have to do it.
Okay. What's it feel like when you judge yourself?
It doesn't feel good.
Okay,
I feel in some way that I'm trapped.
okay. Do you wish to not do this anymore? If you could?
Is it possible? I'm getting tired,
Yeah,
getting tired of it.
okay. How did you get trapped?
Hmm. I feel like I was shown to do this,
Okay,
not with words.
okay.
It was expected
It was expected of you.
strongly.
Okay.
It was
And what did you get to have, or what did you get to avoid by doing what was expected?
Then they didn't judge me or criticize me as much. If I
Yeah,
believe myself, they didn't do it. They were happy that I was doing it.
okay. Was it that if you judge yourself, they won't judge you as much?
Yes.
Okay, and they expected you to judge yourself.
Yes.
What is it they think you're being you get to be if you judge yourself? What do they feel about you if you're the kind of person that judge yourself?
That I'm being humble somehow, that I'm willing to punish myself and then they don't have to. So I'm doing it for them. I'm doing
So
what they would
they
do.
they don't want to punish you anymore. They want you to do it instead. Is that what it is?
Yeah, then they don't have to. And I think it's good.
Okay. So why don't they want to punish you anymore?
I don't know. They just don't want to have to do it. They think it's better when I do it.
But there's something about punishing you that's making them reluctant somehow. Why don't they keep doing it if you can feel?
They still do sometimes. They still do it, just not as harshly.
So if you say as a child you refuse to punish yourself, to judge yourself, so now I assume your parents are the one who have to punish you all the time, but then they didn't want to do it anymore. What was going on for them?
Somehow I'm taking on the control of doing that to myself, of controlling my own behavior. They think that I'll be good if I have to do it myself.
So you get to be good
I'll be better
and you'll be better.
because then I'll have to punish myself. It makes me learn how to be better. They think it makes me learn.
Okay. So that's a good feeling, isn't it? To become good and become better. Do you like that?
I do. I do like that.
Yeah. If there was another way for you to become better and good that doesn't require punishment, would you be open to that?
I don't think there's another way here.
Okay. What if there was?
Well, I would try it.
Okay. And what would happen to your parents who don't want to punish you anyway? For some reason, they wanted to stop, which is something to think about. They make you do something they themselves don't want to do. What would happen if you stop? What would they do?
I think they'd start again.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it could get worse.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to have some control over the pain that's coming your way if you do it to yourself.
Yeah.
How old are you when you started judging yourself?
I think 4. I feel like
Okay.
4.
You're very young when you figured out how to manage living in that place where people were causing you pain probably every day. And you say you're tired now.
Yeah.
And there are other ways to be good and even better.
What are the ways?
That is a good thing to explore. How can you become good? How can you keep being better and better? Is there another way that doesn't require judgment? Well, I would love to ask your guide who was always with you. Maybe they are already trying to treat you that way that is helping you become better.
Hmm. I don't know that yet.
Yeah, you've not experienced it.
No.
Would you like me to ask for ideas?
sure. I'm not sure.
Absolutely. You're just going to be given options for you to explore. You will decide. But I like that you're beginning to feel tired. It's good that you recognize you're tired. You don't want to do this. Can somebody represent Michaela? Do you want to? I represent Jill's guide. Welcome, Jill's guide. Jill has the desire to become good and to become better and better. And she started to judge herself because that's what her parents think will help her do that. Is there another way she can do that?
Well, firstly, I just want to say that Jill is good and better and the best. And I just want to hug that 4-year-old and just let that 4-year-old know that there's nothing that she can do that doesn't make her good and important and valuable and seen and parented and cared for. Nothing.
Okay.
And it's like I want to come in and I want to feel all the spaces around her and every little crack that she's going to let me in. I'm in there. And if she could just soften to recognize that she is loved by us, she's not by her parents and not by her physical environment necessarily, but by us, and that this is so valuable. And I know she doesn't see that yet, but if she could soften to just this little crack of, maybe I could just let a little bit of that love in, because even if she doesn't think she's worthy, just to sort of push the edges and say, okay, I'm gonna experiment with this, and that will change so much for her.
Okay, thank you. So, Jill's representative, your guide is saying that there's nothing you need to be good or better about, that you're already pretty fantastic.
I like hearing that. It makes me feel good. I don't think the ones feel that way.
Yeah, they probably won't. But your parents are now very, very old and tired themselves.
Okay.
And your guide was suggesting that you could experiment ways to let her love in.
I like experimenting.
You're very, very good at it.
Yeah.
And she said you won't believe it yet, and that's okay. That it will feel new.
Okay. I like that.
Joe's guy, is there anything else you want her to know?
Yeah, in the experimenting, I think even if she just tries this idea of like, well, what if it were true? What if this being was here right now loving me? How would they treat me in this moment? And just even to open up the intellectual notion of how love might treat you is a bit of a doorway into opening up more to receiving it in.
Okay. Thank you. That's an experiment, Joe representative, how love might treat you.
Yeah. I never thought of that before. I never thought of it. I want to try that.
So how do you feel about next time the desire to judge come up? What would you like to try to do instead?
I would like to try and think about what love would do and what that would feel like.
Okay. That's a beautiful experiment. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Mila.
You're welcome. I really felt some softening, not shaking so much, like feeling like that internal fear the whole time when Michaela started to speak.
Wow.
First it felt scary, and then I started to feel some softening, and it was so sweet and gentle towards the end there. It just felt really, really good. Like there's just like some opening happening. Yeah. That was nice, actually. Yeah, that was good at the end.
That's lovely. Yeah, thank you.
Michaela, what was it like for you witnessing the guide's way of observing Jill?
It was lovely. She was so like exuberant in her expression, and it was like there was nothing, she wasn't going to lose anything. Like this was a solid, strong thing that wasn't going to alter or change. But there was so much lightness around it as well, and just this desire to just get right on in there. Like I'm in there. She's in there.
Wow. And Jill, what? How are you doing with that? What resonated for you?
Well, yeah, all of it. I felt when just before Virginia started talking, I felt the tightness in my throat and in my chest area. And actually I put my hand to my chest just before she said it. I was like, okay, that was
Yeah.
a little freaky, but um yeah, I resonate with all of it. I resonate, I mean, there was nothing that was uh like it was never said to me that you're was never as blatant as like you're a horrible person. Like it was never said to me like that. It was always very insidious and very so like I watched how they treated other people and then how they treated me, and I'm like, that's different, so then I must be different. So it was always, it was like this, not necessarily comparison, but it was they compared. It was like, well, see how bad that daughter was. Well, you can't act that way. So, it was very all very like insidious. Like it was that's the right word. Um, but it it wasn't blatant. It was never like in my face, um, kind of kind of abuse. Uh, so it's sometimes really hard to pinpoint what where the judgment is, and I treat myself the same way. So the judgment that I have on myself um is never like blatant. Like it is sometimes, like I tell myself I'm a horrible person, and it is sometimes, but um sometimes it's a lot more, I'm going to call it gentle because that's the only word I can think of right now. A lot more quiet. a lot more, like I'd find myself comparing myself to other people, or, you know, not doing something because I didn't think it was good enough, or how are they going to view me, kind of thing. So that judgment was there. So yeah, I mean, it's all very, how to become better and good. That was my life ambition when I was a kid. How could I be better? How could I be good? So that they would love me, is basically what it comes down to, right? Which they never did. So yeah.
Okay. What was it like for everybody else to witness that? What resonated for others? Jess?
Just how like cute little Jill was. Just like sweet and cute and kind of makes me sad.
It's all of us, eh? That's how we all were, and then we got twisted, got corrupted into treating ourselves a certain way, seeing ourselves in a certain way. Okay. All right. So Debbie had raised her hand to be represented as well. I still want to go ahead, Debbie, to be represented.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I really related to what happened with Jill. Yeah,
You can relate to Jill.
very much.
Yeah.
I would like to have it done. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should go ahead with you.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have to leave too in a half an hour, right?
Yeah, pretty much, more or less. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so who would like to represent Debbie's desire to judge herself? Jess? Right, set the intention to accurately represent.
Okay.
Welcome, Debbie's representative. How do you feel about Debbie?
Um, I am not really aware of Debbie. I'm
Okay,
feel really agitated.
okay,
Feel like I want to be out of my body.
okay.
Um,
And
I keep feeling these like surges of, I guess, energy, like
okay,
like a rolling feeling of like from my head down into my gut and then like rolling back up again.
okay. And what are you doing to yourself? What do you feel about yourself in those
I'm
moments of search?
fighting myself.
You're fighting with yourself?
Yeah.
Okay,
And when I do, like I think the more I push against myself, like it's like
mhm,
I don't want to be in this body. I don't want to be here. The more I do, then that buildup of that energy, then that's what's kind of like coursing through me.
yeah,
And it doesn't feel bad, but it is not what I want.
okay. What you want is to be out of your body?
Yeah, I don't like this.
Okay. And is that because of your judgment about your body, about yourself, your life?
I think it's Jess is resisting this, but it's like a self-hatred.
Okay,
It's I don't want to be here because I hate this. I can't even like I think it's just resisting. I hate myself.
Okay.
And just saying that out loud now, I feel a lot of grief. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to.
And what is it you hate about yourself?
I don't even know.
Do you know?
That that saying that though, I was like, oh, maybe it's not me. Like maybe that
Okay.
hate isn't like when I said I don't even know, like wait, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So if I don't know why I hate myself, then why do I hate myself? Where did that even come from?
Yeah. Can you try to remember?
I don't think I want to.
Okay.
No, that seems terrifying.
Okay. That's okay.
This feels like a lot right now. With like my
It's okay.
emotions are changing really quickly.
Yeah. You're doing good. That's okay. You don't have to do anything you don't want to.
I'm seeing a bunch of really nice colors. Um, I'm kind of now I'm scared. I'm really scared, but I'm liking the thought that maybe I don't hate myself.
Okay.
If I don't know where it came from, and
Yeah.
then maybe I didn't make that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really tense. I feel a lot of fear, but the agitation is gone. Like I feel like I'm more in my body, and I don't know what these really nice colors are coming from, but I
Okay.
there's something nice here, even though I feel sad and scared.
I like your awareness, your self-awareness of, do I even hate myself? Where did it even come from? This may not have been my choice, may not have been mine.
When you say that, I see more nice colors.
Okay. Could those nice colors be about you having nice, better feelings about yourself? You're giving yourself love now?
I think I feel guilty for doing that. Like that's
Ah,
really nice, but I don't think I'm allowed to.
yeah. Okay. You're not allowed to like yourself, to have good feelings for yourself.
The colors are turning into flowers now.
Okay.
It's strange. The more sad I feel, the more beauty I seem to have access to.
Okay.
And even saying that, like more flowers.
So your decision to question why do I hate myself? Where is it coming from? Is giving you some good results. Even just questioning it.
I oh, it's still scary. Like I don't want anyone else to hear this, but I don't think I do. I don't think I hate myself, but I believed that I had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if like these feelings that I'm having right now are going against that, and so I'm scared of what will happen if I don't keep hating myself.
Okay.
I feel like I'm doing something wrong and something bad is going to happen.
Okay.
but I want the flowers and the colors.
Yeah. The feeling that something bad will happen is just the feeling. Just like you were feeling scared, you were feeling guilty, those were just feelings. And good stuff kept happening as you felt it. So this is also just a feeling.
How do I make it stop? Like I'm having a lot of conflicting feelings at the same time. Like I feel a lot of tension in my body, especially like my neck, behind
Yeah.
my ears.
Yeah.
But then there's also these wonderful colors and flowers.
Okay.
And then there's also grief. Actually, the grief doesn't feel so much anymore. I feel,
Okay.
It's weird. The more I talk about it, like I feel much calmer now.
Now, the way to get rid of it is to let yourself remember where you were taught to do this to yourself, where the feeling came from. How did it get created? Whenever you're ready to do it, whenever it could be today, it could be another day, remembering how it got created will help you release it.
Well, it's from my family.
Okay. Was it
Like,
about how they felt about themselves, or was it something they wanted you to do to yourself?
I think they were really angry.
Okay.
Maybe not at me specifically, but just in general, like so much anger, and there
Mhm.
wasn't anywhere for it to go. And so it just seeped out into everything.
Did you absorb it because you were trying to help them?
I feel very hazy from that. Like, I don't know, but when you
Okay.
asked that, everything, like everything that I was seeing, like I don't have clarity. Everything is blurry now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes children absorb toxic emotion from around them so that the adults feel better. And sometimes the children are angry at how bad it feels, but they turn it inward towards themselves. And then sometimes you treat yourself the way your parents treat themselves. So I don't know which one you have.
Um, I don't know either. This blurriness feels like dissociation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I don't want to go there right now.
No worries. You don't have to. Something to think about for the next few days is, did I
Yeah.
absorb this emotion? There's something about absorbing emotions into myself that feels frightening.
Um, okay, Jess is wondering, can you bring a guide and have the guide sit with me and then ask me that again?
Sure. Okay, let's do that. Thank you. Yeah. I'm trying to, it's kind of a conflict of respecting the desire to, like, I don't want to go in here
I
and
think
take any
it's
time.
like the dissociation, but I also feel like there's this force field and like this protection, this desire for
Yeah.
some protection. And
Okay.
also, and then like not speaking as Jess, but like little Debbie's desire to judge.
Yeah.
Um, like want like that was her asking, I want you to, can you say it again so that I can maybe try to hear it again?
Got it. Got it. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay, that's a beautiful desire. So can someone represent Debbie's guide who was there with her as a child? It's the funnest thing to represent, folks. You learn a lot. Karina. Okay, set an intention to accurately represent Debbie's guide from when she was a child. Welcome, Debbie's guide.
Hello.
How do you feel about Debbie's representative confronting her self-hatred?
I think Debbie likes things to be slowed down. And piece by piece, perhaps, well, gently goes.
Yes, absolutely. Do you feel that Debbie is open to your support, to your sitting with her, supporting her right now?
I feel she's floundering a little. However, I just ask her to just be in her body so that I can assist.
Right, Debbie's representative, how did that feel?
I feel just calm now. Kind of peaceful.
And your guide is valuing your desire to do things piece by piece, step by step. So let's go over the step again. How was your self-hatred created? It's not something you wanted to do. How did it come into you?
I think it's from punishment.
Okay. You're being punished? Or you
Yeah.
witnessing punishment?
Yeah. It's like corrected if I did something that other people thought was wrong, or that it should have been done a certain way. Like punishment, or like just not doing what was expected or wanted of me in the way that was demanded. I feel like I'm wanting to soften everything. Like I don't want to admit any sort of harshness.
About what was really going on?
Yeah, like downplaying it. It's hard for me to say these things.
And why did the punishment turn into self-hatred?
Because that's what was happening. And like that punishment is kind of a hateful, resentful thing. It's like
You felt hate,
it's
yeah.
like revenge. It's like you didn't do what I want, so I'm going to do this thing to you.
Yeah,
So I turned it inwards.
there you go. So what you felt coming from outsiders were hate, and that turned inward. Okay.
I really don't, but I don't want to say that they were hateful. I'm protecting them. I don't want them to get punished.
They won't get punished.
If I admit that they were mean,
Yeah,
then I'm scared now that then something bad's gonna, okay, yeah, you said about protecting them. I guess I'm trying to protect them by punishing myself. But I don't even want to admit that because I don't want anything bad to happen to them.
They won't. Nothing bad will happen to them. As you had observed, they were angry. They were just angry about a lot of things, and so when they were trying to punish, all that hate just came out.
It's so hard to admit. I really, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I don't want it to be my
No.
fault.
No, yeah, it will not be your fault, and nothing bad's gonna happen to them. So Debbie's guide, instead of hating herself, what would you like to suggest Debbie do to herself? How can she replace this?
I'd first like to say that we're so proud of her for coming to this realization and commencing to soften and love herself. And this is the way through, gently, gently, opening like a flower, imagining a rose slowly opening to receive the love. This is the way. We know it's been very scary, and we know there's been so much fear and protection. And this softening today, if she can stay in her body and remember this, anchor this feeling of love and opening, relaxing, accepting, having faith and trust that she's a beautiful, beautiful, loving soul. Just to anchor this feeling she has now in her body. It's safe. It's safe to recognize bit by bit the truth and the realization of what did occur, and she was innocent and beautiful and always will be and always has been. And we love her very, very much.
Thank you. Okay, Debbie's representative, how did that feel?
Feel like I don't even want to speak. I just want to sit in this feeling. Like I don't want anything to interrupt it.
Beautiful.
I feel like I'm gonna sleep so well. I feel so calm.
So you could start with asking your guide to come sit with you, get used to that feeling. So whenever that self-hatred come up, reach for your guide first. It's like your safety blanket. Get into this feeling.
It feels
And
so safe.
good. Good. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Debbie?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Karina. Thank you, Mila. Yeah, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that was
Jess was
awesome.
the perfect person because she
Yes, you
wouldn't let
were.
anything
Yes, you
slip
were.
out.
Yeah, and I felt bad that you had to feel that at first. I know that went through my mind. But when you got started, right before you got started, I felt like sort of this rush of something, all that negativity kind of came in. No content, no, just that feeling and the agitation and the tension. And I've always dissociated very, very easily. And I do a lot to stay in the body, but it's like I'm there and I'm not. And I feel like I'm just kind of learning because of divine truth. I'm just learning like what my childhood really was like. I definitely did not want to admit to that for a long time because it was all, I don't know, it wasn't overt. It was just in the air. And there was definitely a lot of self-hatred with my parents. They didn't know how to deal with any emotions, that anger. But that felt very beautiful when the guide came in. Yeah, it just felt amazing. I,
You, Karina, you should give guided meditations or something. Or like guide and Karina, but
right,
like
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's beautiful. When we had just finished with Jill, and I was checking in with you, Debbie, your voice got really small, and I said, "Oh no, we're doing this now. Something is happening here."
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that, yeah, and that self-judgment, I mean, that self-hate, it's always, I think it's just
Oof.
always there. I don't even realize it.
It's very important to recognize how familiar. It's like, wait a minute, is that
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like I should have it. Then I feel like, oh, I made all these mistakes. I deserve to have it. Like all these mistakes with my son. So I deserve it. I can't like see the flowers, enjoy the flowers. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful representation. That was incredible.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break and then we'll continue on. Okay, so let's do two more. Michaela had offered to be constellated, so who would like to who would like to represent Michaela's desire to judge herself? Jill, thank you. All right, welcome, Michaela's representative. Can you say more about your desire to judge yourself?
I don't know if it's just me, I'm having a hard time connecting, but I almost feel like I want to like kind of be skipping around and dancing and just going, what judgment? Oh, what judgment? I'm perfectly fine. What judgment?
Okay.
So I'm having a hard time connecting.
Okay. But are you actually judging yourself in that while doing that?
Mm. The dancing kind of stopped and it's now just kind of busy. You don't really want to be here. You don't really want to be looking at this.
Okay.
It doesn't feel comfortable. Feels like I have to feels like I have to make myself busy to not feel the judgment or not deal with the judgment.
Okay. It's very painful. The self-judgment is painful.
Yeah, like I need to do something with my hands. Like it's very uncomfortable,
Okay.
very uncomfortable, very uneasy, very anxious.
It's very difficult to acknowledge the self-judgment and how bad it feels. And you're always
Yeah.
trying to escape it. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Is the self-judgment always going on?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel the terror of stopping. That I have to feel the terror of if I don't if I don't do the judging, then I'm gonna get into a lot of trouble. I'm gonna get hurt. I'm gonna get punished. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to get anybody to get angry at me.
Okay, you don't want to get anyone getting angry with you. And you also
No.
know that it hurts though when you're judging yourself. It hurts so bad you can't even stay in your body.
But it hurts less than what they would do to me.
Okay.
This is easier.
Yeah.
And they don't hurt me this way.
Okay. So if you're judging yourself, it stops people from hurting you? Does it work?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time. But I mean I still I still feel the pain, but it's not coming from them.
Yeah.
It's
But there's something you're doing to yourself that feels so bad you can't even stay in your body. What are you doing to yourself that hurts so bad?
feel I don't know. Um, I want to leave again. I don't want to be here.
No worries, not a worries. But I just want to point out to you, there's something you're doing to yourself so painful you can't even stay in your body. Just want you to observe, what is it you're doing to yourself that hurts so bad? What is this pain you're causing?
um, um, I, I want, I want, I want, I want love. I want people to love me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a beautiful thing to want. Yeah.
and but they say they do,
Okay.
but I don't know. I don't believe them. And if that's what love is, then I don't want it. So I don't love myself.
Okay.
I don't,
So are you attacking yourself for somebody else's choice to not love you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, but that's what they've shown me love is. So that's what I'm doing to myself. And I
Okay.
I don't know any different.
And yet you also have acknowledged that that's not love. What they say was love wasn't love. You saw that, you knew that.
Wait, what?
So you're treating yourself the way they treated you, but they called it love. But you also said, but I know it's not love.
Oh, oh. Yeah, I know it's not love. I know it's not love. Does that mean that nobody loved me?
No, it just means that some people don't know how to love, and so they can't give love. But then there are other people who know how to love.
Mm.
It's
So,
just that they lied about it. They say they love when they would have been better off saying, I don't know how to love. What I'm doing is not love. Just being honest.
the anxiety kind of has calmed down. That I knew that. I knew that it wasn't. So why why did I hurt myself so badly if I knew that it wasn't love in the first place?
Yeah.
I I didn't know any different. I didn't know any.
Okay.
I just did what they did.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
But so what were was there anybody that loved me?
Uh, you always had people, angels basically, always with you, purely loving you, that God assigned to love you, just so that you will be loved. And you've actually met them and spoken to them a few times now.
Yeah. I guess I was too busy to recognize that they loved me. But yeah, I remember that.
So if you could let yourself feel what is it you're doing to yourself that is so painful you end up getting away from your body. Just let yourself feel what is that thing you do? What is it? What's it feel like?
Feels like I'm feels like I'm stabbing myself. Like I'm almost like my back hurts, like I'm stabbing myself in the back
Okay,
kind of thing.
okay.
And it gets really heavy.
Yeah.
Um,
Let yourself feel the pain you're causing yourself. Let yourself feel it. Don't try to get away from it.
oh, but it hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing out there. Like It's
Okay.
just black. It's like I'm all alone.
Yes. Okay.
I don't like being alone. The alone, the dark scares me.
Yeah. So if you stop hurting yourself, you're going to temporarily feel that there's nothing out there and it's a void and it's all dark. Okay. It's temporary. It's not going to be for very long.
My throat starts to close up.
Okay. Now, I would like you to I'd like you to have a feeling inside your heart that you would like one of your angels to show themselves, to come to you.
Yeah, it gets lighter when they're around.
Okay.
It's later. I like the blues and the greens that they bring.
Okay.
And it gets lighter.
Okay.
Yeah, I like having them around.
Yeah.
I feel I feel like they're closer now.
Okay.
Before they were so far away.
And
Now they're
if you remember how this happened, you had a feeling in your heart that you want them near. That's all you
yeah,
have to do.
I can feel it. The more that I feel that, the closer they get.
Hmm.
It's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like hurting yourself now?
No, no, not when they're around.
Okay. Now, habits can take time to change. So, but if you let yourself feel that you're hurting yourself, if you let yourself feel you're stabbing yourself, you will very quickly change the habit.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt the desire lessen and it started to tighten my throat up again, but then I tried to feel the desire again it and then they're back.
You will
Yeah.
have to temporarily feel the void and the black, the dark. You may have to temporarily feel that, just temporarily, and that's okay. It's like a transition zone.
Okay, but they're telling me that they're not going to go anywhere.
Okay. Do you
But
believe
I can feel that I can feel that with them because it's really scary. But they're there with me.
that? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for visiting.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Mila.
Okay.
That was enlightening. I didn't realize that the busyness was self-punishment, but I can see how that is a part of it. And I really still don't want to feel how much I'm hurting myself. Like I could feel myself getting all distracted then. So I want to focus more attention on that. So that, and that's kind of what I'm working on at the moment, is to become more sensitive to how I'm treating myself. Yeah, and just like seeing like the antidote is to just ask for my guides and to keep on that.
I could feel that you were very open. I didn't even have to have somebody else represent the guides. Like it was going to happen straight. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does happen. I don't know why. It's like often it's more in relation to other people that I might want to connect to my guides, whereas in relation to me,
Ah,
I'm not, I don't know. It's like I don't choose it. I know I can choose it and I don't. So I feel like maybe paying more attention to the pain I'm causing myself might help to change that
Yeah.
choice.
yeah. Because as soon as you become aware, you're like, you're going to make a choice. Just I could feel like you're going to make a choice. If you could feel the consequence, you will say, I don't want to do this to myself. Like, it'd be so easy for you to. Yeah.
And the temporary, I like that you kept reiterating that it's temporary to feel that uncomfortableness. So
Yeah.
I can go, because I faced down the discomfort yesterday and I was like, hell no, I'm not staying here, and I ran away. But it's like, no, it's temporary. It's a good reminder.
And it is going to happen though. You're going to have to experience it. It's not going to,
Yeah.
beautiful. And I saw Jill just lighten up and she was all light. And I'm like, oh, haven't seen Jill looking so light for a while now. It was so nice.
That was a beautiful gift. Thank you.
Um,
And I feel like you're connected to your guides quite strongly.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, you don't ask for yourself. So yeah, so ask for yourself.
yeah,
I will endeavor to want to. I'll get there.
you will. You will. I mean, with constellation
will.
work, once something has shifted in the constellation from what we've learned over the next few weeks and months, things will just keep unfolding. So,
Thank you.
so different, but Michaela's self-judgment is similar to mine. I was like, that's mine, that's my pattern. So I'm always trying to get away from having to experience my own self-attack. And going, oh, I gotcha, I know what this is. So that was kind of cheeky towards myself. Okay, Virginia. Let's represent. Virginia has been confronting and healing her self-judgment for a long time. I feel like once Virginia has gone through this, we won't even recognize the new Virginia. So who would like to represent Virginia's desire to judge herself? At some point, we could probably come up with Holly. We could probably come up with the different types of self-judgment, because we've seen 3 different types so far. It's like there's probably like a set pattern coming up somewhere. Exactly. Okay, Holly. Thank you. All right, Virginia's representative, desire to judge yourself. Ooh, okay. How would you describe yourself?
Just right now, my heart is racing.
Okay,
I'm not sure I really want to be here, but I know this will help, so
okay. And how do you treat yourself?
no, I want to say I just treat myself fine, but um, the pain says I don't.
You do feel the pain from how you treat yourself? Yeah. Okay. Why do you want to say that it's fine?
Well, I just find it's a lot sometimes. And
What's a lot?
it's just a lot to feel, and a lot to deal with, and a lot to learn, and a lot to learn about myself. And there's some things maybe I don't want to know.
Yeah. Okay. So is it that it's a feeling of being overwhelmed? Or a feeling of expectations of yourself?
I think there's both there, yeah.
Okay.
Feels like there's both.
When you have a lot to deal with, what is it you were taught to do with it? What did you learn that if you have a lot to deal with, what did you learn? What are you supposed to do?
To fix it all as best I can. To give it attention, to try to fix it, change it any way I can.
Okay, so when there's a lot to deal with, the expectation is you have to fix it and change it.
Yeah. Or else it'll be too much. It'll just be it'll be a lot.
Okay. And what is it you learn about things that things should not be too much? Life should not be a lot. What is it you learn about that?
That I don't deal well with it. That I
Okay.
don't know how to sometimes. I'm unsure. I try things, and um, seems like they don't work. Seems like I can't do enough, or I can't, whatever I try, it's not enough, or
It sounds to me like you have expectations placed on you, and then when you don't meet expectations, you treat yourself badly.
Mm.
That you're supposed to fix it, you're supposed to deal with it, you're supposed to change it, that life should not be too much, there shouldn't be too much of anything.
yeah. Why does it always have to be too much?
It's
Why is there
okay for
always
things to be
so
too
much?
much. How did you learn that being too much is wrong?
There always was too much. I never got to just rest or play, or it was just always too much. And so if I tried to fix it, maybe it would stop, and then I could rest or do something I wanted to do. I don't know. It's a lot.
So what were your parents like around things being too much? How would they respond when something was too much?
Like they gave it to me.
Okay. So your parents don't like to have too much of anything. If it's uncomfortable, they give it to you.
Like it. Yeah, what it
And,
felt like.
and how did you learn that you should judge yourself if something is too much and you couldn't fix it, or something else that doesn't make sense?
How did I learn that?
Yeah, how did you learn to judge?
Felt like I was judged.
You were judged?
Yeah.
So let me get clear. Your parents, who were grown-ups, had to deal with life, but when it got too much, they handed it to you, who's a kid, who had no idea what to do with anything. It's not yours anyway. And then on top of it, your parents then judged you for not dealing with things they themselves couldn't cope with.
I guess they judged for how I'm dealing with it. I don't know. Like
Doesn't make sense.
no, and that's overwhelming. That's the overwhelming part. Like I couldn't make sense of it.
No, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I'm a grown-up trying to think about this, and my brain's getting knotted up.
It just, how am I supposed to deal with that?
It wasn't even yours. If adults couldn't deal with it and gave it to you, how are you supposed to deal with it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it's pretty tough. I didn't like it, and
No.
it hurts to be pressed with that, to be pushed into that, and to be
Yeah.
it's a lot. And I
Yeah.
try to fix it, and it just I don't know. It feels like I can't fix it enough. I can't do it right.
If adults couldn't fix it, what chance do you have?
Yeah, yeah.
It was always supposed to be impossible. You were always meant to fail, and you should. None of this makes sense.
It was impossible.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to keep up with that?
Yeah.
Is there a way to stop this? Is there
I'm
a
so
way
glad
to
you
come out
asked.
of it?
I'm so glad you asked. Let's find a way. Maybe when something feels too much, when it feels overwhelming, you can say, there's nothing to judge here. It doesn't make sense. When I have a lot to feel, a lot to deal with, a lot to learn, when I have a lot of things I don't want to know, I can take a moment and say, there is nothing to judge here. There's nothing wrong. That could be step one.
Well, that isn't a judgment?
No,
Oh, good.
none whatsoever.
Good.
And then you just take a moment and do what you're doing right now. You just let yourself have a cry and release that burden, release the stress.
Yeah.
Your parents were just having feelings. They were having a feeling that things were too much. They could have just felt it instead of dumping it on you. They were just emotions. There's nothing to fix.
Wow. Nothing to judge here.
There's nothing to judge here. Just start with that. And then the next is you write down a set of questions and you wait till your guides give you some answers because they're wise, they experience, they can give you guidance on what to do and how to do it. You have people you can go ask.
Nice. I'm glad I got somebody to talk to.
You do. And I've met them. They're lovely. They're so lovely.
Mm.
And they know how much you really want to grow and learn. There's only so much the brain can handle at a time. There's nothing to judge about that.
I guess there isn't. Looking at it that way, it just seems like there isn't, you know?
Yeah.
Like there isn't anything. No. Mm.
Well, thank you for coming to speak with us today. All right. Holly, if you just want to like kind of tap yourself, tap your body, kind of come out of it.
Yeah.
What was it like for you, Holly?
So quite something. Yeah, just feel that overwhelm just coming in
Oh,
and
wow.
everything just coming at like
Oof.
everything coming at you, you know, and you don't, what can you do? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to do things. You don't want that to come at you. So
No.
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing
Yeah.
much here. That's pretty good. That'd be good.
Yeah, I think we all have the type that we are resonating with.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel kind of this was a lot. There was a lot that came out here, and I almost feel like in the next couple of weeks, I encourage everyone who didn't get a chance to consulate to get it consulated. Find for yourself your personal desire to judge and get to know, get to learn it. Book a session with somebody, take pieces of papers, however, stones, puppets, whatever you want to do, get it constellated, or ask your guide to show you how does that look like for me. You know, please show me, make me sensitive to ways in which I judge myself. Because what I'm learning from this is that it's so individual, but we got to find it. We got to know it for ourselves and then turn it off somehow. Yeah. Because everybody just, whoever we're constellating, would just relax and became at peace and open and logical. Like, you know, that was a beautiful person that is capable of processing stuff. It was quite lovely. And of course, you guys were so good at constellating. That's is amazing. Thank you for giving such a humble gift to everybody else. And I don't know what next week's going to look like, but I'm sure something will come to me. And this is, see, the more we watch as we watch how other people judge themselves and how it got created, we're beginning to develop empathy. We're beginning to feel like, oh, that was terrible. There was no need for that. So that's one of it. And then slowly we'll keep developing this. And then the retreat happening in Vancouver in June is going to be on this still. I really want this piece figured out. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for participating today.
Good.